Hey, what's going on, guys? Darby here, joined today by Francis Ablola, who is the CEO of Real Advisors, a four-time Inc. 5000 winner. Is that how you would say it? You're an Inc. 5000 winner, and a copywriter and marketing strategist who is going to be presenting with us here at the upcoming Scale with AI Summit, which you can register for free, scalewithAIsummit.com. Free registration, get the live events and the replays and the recordings and all the bonus resources. And I wanted to bring in Francis today to talk a little bit about what you can expect from his presentation, because he's been doing this since 2021, guys. He's been doing this for a long time at a very high and effective level. And so, Francis, I would love to hear people if you could share a little bit of a high-level overview of kind of your background. What have you been doing since 2021?
Actually, let's add to that. It's actually 2001. So it's 21 years.
2000. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
In my head, I'm saying it. I just don't know how to talk, apparently.
No worries.
2001 as a professional marketer and a copywriter, and you've had a huge impact over the course of your career. And I'm really excited about what you have to come and share with us through the years and the experience that you've gained since 2001.
And being in the market for that long, I didn't start with AI. I didn't start with online marketing. In fact, I started with direct mail and newspaper ads and radio ads. So when I look at the evolution of what we've been doing in marketing to what we're doing now, back then, if I made a mistake or if I had to test something in a newspaper ad, well, that's a $30,000 test or a $10,000 test. Today, we have a lot more ability to test faster, and now using AI. And I spent the last 20 years of my life as a direct response copywriter, learning from some of the very best, working for some of the largest companies behind the scenes as a marketer, as a media buyer, as a marketer director, as a copywriter. And now AI is really taking that time frame and shrunk it down. I like to say, I'm going to teach you 20 years of my experience and how to do it in 20 minutes. And that's not an over-exaggeration. And we can walk through Claude and show you how to write copy that sounds good, that sounds real, that it actually is market aware in a very short amount of time. And so from a copywriter standpoint, and when I looked at AI and looked at using these tools originally, I was like, that's not going to work. That doesn't make sense. It doesn't really identify the empathy of a human market. But I did a whole 180 spin on that, and what we're producing with AI, what we're producing with market research tools, much like MarketSauce, what you're doing is so important and shortcuts our time frame of being able to see what's in a market, see what's in someone's head, enter the conversation already happening in the prospect's mind, which is that famous quote, to be able to do that and turn that into something that you can get out and actually profit with from your copy is amazing. So the evolution of where we were 20 years ago to now is astonishing, and it makes it easy for a business owner or a marketing or a coach or consultant or someone who is on the edge and has been struggling and frustrated with their marketing to accelerate getting something out in the market really good. So I'll talk a little bit about that during the events, but really how to enter the conversation already happening in the prospect's mind, how to really understand wants and desires and needs, and go into the market and see what's happening and use that for your copy.
You mentioned the word empathy in here, which I think is something I want to focus in on, at least for a brief moment in this conversation, and that it's a word that maybe isn't top of mind to everyone that's coming in and thinking about marketing. What does empathy even mean? And what does that mean as it relates to having that conversation, meeting your prospects where they're at? I think if you overlook something as important as empathy, while it has the ability to make us go fast, we can also go fast in the wrong direction. I'm curious if you have any thoughts about that, how you align and make sure that you are focusing on the right direction in this Ferrari that we're using with this AI tool. If you don't know how to drive a Ferrari, you can go a lot of ways very quickly, or maybe not get started on the right foot at all. How do you align yourself, just maybe at a high level, because I know we're going to go into this in more detail at the summit. How do you, at a high level, like even start to empathize with a prospect or a market that you have no prior knowledge or understanding of in the first place? And let's take AI out of the equation. What are some just like ways that you have learned over the years to just get started off on the right foot for those that are coming into this and haven't even touched AI and they're looking out for a way to get started and know they're going in the right direction?
That's a great question. And empathy is my secret sauce behind creating winning promotions and creating campaigns, because it all comes down to understanding the audience, that prospect, that individual customer, where they are right now, building that know and trust factor, and making them understand, I was just like you, but I found a better way, and this is how to do it. And I have a deep desire to help you get there. And so even without AI in the conversation, my job as a copywriter, my job as a marketer for years was getting into that prospect's minds and understanding their wants, the desires, their needs, but why it's important for them. We dial into that famous radio station, WIIFM. What's in it for me? And it's easy to use AI to ignore that part because you're coming out with like, all right, this sounds really good. But the missing element is that nuance. The missing element is that humanization of understanding where that person is right now and their deepest pains, their deepest desires, their deepest wants, and being able to put that in the market. So when somebody reads it, it's not just nice sounding copy, it's copy that hits them in their logically and emotionally to where they want to move. And so I learned that the hard way. I actually had to do tons of research. I had to go find when I started, it wasn't going online and Google searching all this stuff. There was some of that, but I also looked at newspapers, and I also found articles and old out of print books that I looked in the market. I would go to seminars and meet with people who were in my market. I would take them to dinner, take them to lunch, actually sit down and have full conversations. I'll tell a story at the event of how Gary Halbert, who was one of the greatest copywriters to ever live, I went to was one of his seminars when I was a brand new copywriter, when I was, I think, 22 years old. I'm 41 this year. And I sat there and I did a hot seat. I had the honor of doing a hot seat at one of his events. And he tore me to shreds because I didn't know my product and I didn't know my audience. And it was almost traumatizing. In fact, I met somebody 10 years later. That guy was my idol, right? I met somebody 10 years later who was at that event, and he remembered me going through that. So it wasn't just in my head. It was actually a really interesting experience. But from that experience, I learned the importance of I need to know my market and my product, what's unique, what's different in a way that nobody else does, and that makes my marketing stand out in a way that nobody else can. And so when we drive into that concept of empathy, it's feeling what that prospect is feeling and being able to communicate it to them in a way that they feel like it's their voice, it's coming from someone that understands them. And oftentimes, it's hard for us to communicate to ourselves our own problems. And for a prospect, that's the same way. They can't communicate their own issues and their needs. It's just frustration and anxiety and overwhelm. That's how it shows up. But if you're someone who can reach into their hearts and their minds and communicate a message to them that's no one has ever talked to me the way that you have in understanding my issue, you become their savior, you become their friend, you become their solution provider. And to me, from a marketing standpoint, that's what empathy means.
I love how deep you go in that description, and the understanding obviously comes from the experience that you've had in developing this over years. And you're doing this in the trenches, you're doing it, going out, reading newspapers, paying to go to different seminars, like back when the internet was nowhere near what it was, what we have now. And now guys just knows so much about everything. How do we focus that in and actually connect with people at that emotional level with, and now the problem is there's so much content everywhere. How are you cutting through that noise? And empathy is more important now than it ever has been. Not that it ever wasn't important, but being able to connect to that human to human level, I think, is what people crave. And how you can do that most effectively as a marketer, as a business owner, is really critical to making sure that your products are landing in the right target audience. And so I'm really excited to see how your process works. I haven't seen it in depth by any means. We talked briefly before we hit record here about a little bit about your process and how it works for what you've done and how you help people doing this. But if there's maybe one big outcome that someone could expect to come through your presentation and learn from what you're going to be teaching, is there one specific outcome that you want people to be able to walk away with tangibly from joining you at the Scale with AI Summit?
Absolutely. So one specific outcome is I've been studying copywriting and working in the field of direct response marketing for 20 years as a working copywriter. I've helped generate over $50 million in sales online, offline, through my companies, for my own companies and our clients. I'm going to give you the ability to take that 20 years of experience working with mentors, paying hundreds of thousands of dollars for mentorship and training, and turn that into whatever time I have and be able to get you usable copy that's going to turn into profit in that amount of time. And so with AI, with the help of AI, making it sound like it's you and your voice, giving it the clear direction and still the sales protocol needed to make the sale, but sound like you, sound human, and make it effective.
Did I hear you mention Claude earlier.
Yes.
Is there a specific tool that we're going to be demonstrating in your presentation?
So I like to use Claude. I Claude Sonnet 3.5 right now using Poe actually because I have more token ability there.
Okay.
And so we'll walk through that and we'll take a few tools of being able to scrape the web and see what kind of information's out there. I think the greatest thing about the online marketing world that we have right now is that people are not afraid of sharing what they actually feel behind a keyboard. And as a marketer, we can use that information that's available to us to really get inside someone's head and really find their pain points and really dig into what they're looking for so we can become the solution providers.
That's great. And for those that want to get on the front row of watching this happen live, it is happening a week from today, I believe, or maybe a little less than a week. November 6th is your session, 2024. Going to be going on live. It's going to be a power hour. You're going to learn a lot about what you just described, the empathy, the research, the processes for how you go about creating this content that's going to get inside the mind of your market. Those registering for the event are going to get access to some free resources from Market Sauce, our own AI-powered market research tool that can work in combination with your process here to make it that much more effective, which I think is a really cool synergy between what you're teaching and a tool that we're already using and getting great results from with our own customers and clients.
In fact, Market Sauce is a great shortcut to what I'm doing. So I love that and love what you're doing right now and actually look forward to putting that more into what I'm doing in my processes.
Yeah, and it's one of those things that it's going to continue to iterate. And I think it's going to give people that see how to approach marketing from the lens of empathy and then how we can use AI tools to help with accelerate the process. It's just going to enable so many business owners, so many entrepreneurs, so many people that maybe have an idea that they want to get out in the world, but they don't know the words or the right language or the things to put together to actually speak and land on the ears of their exact target audience, which is what I'm hoping everyone will walk away at the very least from this entire summit, is knowing exactly who your target audience is, the language that's going to land on their ears, that's going to resonate with them and give you those words to helping you convert those words, that copy, into actual dollars that you can put into your bank account and use to grow your business.
I love it. I look forward to the session. I look forward to listening to the other sessions as well, because I'm really excited about what everybody is bringing to the table.
Absolutely. And so for those of you that want to join us live, scalewithAIsummit.com, go ahead and register, get access to the live sessions, access to the recordings, as well as all the bonus material. All of our content is going to be recorded and we will be reproducing it back here on our YouTube channel. So make sure you're subscribed to YouTube as well so you get notified as we get more of this type of content out there and that we know what kind of content's resonating with you. So thank you so much, Francis, for joining us here today at the preview. I'm looking forward to your session at the summit. And until then, keep calming AI on. As I say, we'll see you on the other side.
Thank you. I appreciate you. Looking forward to it.
That's a wrap for this episode of the AI for Business podcast. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to hit subscribe and pass it along to a friend or colleague. We appreciate you being here and we'll catch you in the next one.